Hello, everybody. Welcome to the new moon ceremony for this hello, everybody. Let's begin again. We lost connection, but here we are. Welcome to the new moon ceremony. We are entering the eclipse season, the eclipse cycle, the Virgo season. And so here we are. Every 6 months, we have the eclipses. So that is what this next cycle is going to be about. I'm going to be talking a lot about it literally over the next 2 months, because what's special about this cycle now is that tomorrow is the new moon, and in 2 weeks will be the full moon, and it will be a full moon lunar eclipse. So this entire cycle is an eclipse cycle that is being activated by the full moon eclipse. And then 2 weeks later, on that new moon, we have a new moon solar eclipse, which is going to take us through a whole other lunar cycle. So we literally have 2 lunar cycles for this eclipse season. And what else is very special about this moment right now? It's very, very rare. We have 2 new moons in Virgo happening. So tomorrow is a new moon at 0 degrees of Virgo. And then in a month, the next new moon is going to be at 29 degrees of Virgo. And that 29 degrees new moon in a month from now will be a solar eclipse. So we're going to have a solar eclipse at 29 degrees Virgo, and tomorrow we're having 0 degree new moon Virgo. So the potency of Virgo is super hyped up. That's what we need to be aware of. And just initially, like right on the surface, what this brings to mind is that let's all really utilize this energy, like we always do as astrologers, people who follow astrology, like we want to learn how to access what's available, right? The potency and the power of the energetics and the frequencies and like what's moving out there, what's moving through us. And so we just came through Leo season. We still have Venus in Leo throughout this next month. So there's that playful, personal, pleasureful Leo energy that's happening. And as we move into Virgo, Virgo is all about let's do the work, let's get devotional, let's put the effort where it's most needed. It's so much about an inner experience of self-improvement, self-development. It definitely is a bridge archetype. Like we have the first 5 of the zodiac, which is very much self. So we want to understand it like that. The Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, it's very self-oriented. And then what we call the outer, so there's like the inner archetypes, the personal archetypes, and then the outer or the personal or the social archetypes, which is Libra through Pisces, takes us out into the social arenas. But of course, there's always the center point is always self. So the first 5 is like self with self. And the Libra through Pisces is self in relationship to other and society. And then Virgo is a bridge between those two, right? It comes after the 5th, after Leo, before the 7th, before Libra, and it's opposite Pisces, the 12th, which is the last, which is also like a bridge, because Libra to Aquarius is this development through more and more socialization, more and more like maturity of how to interrelate and interact and co-create and contribute to the bigger picture. And so that goes on through Aquarius. It peaks out in Aquarius, our socialized, individualized, creative potential and creative contribution. Opposite Leo, which is like, what do I really want to do with my time and energy? And then Aquarius takes it into the bigger picture. And then in Pisces, it's also like that bridge before we are sort of born again into Aries. Pisces just sort of dissolves it all, lets it all go, and we really embrace like unity and connection and oneness in Pisces. So Pisces is opposite Virgo. So this is a very big archetype that is influencing all of us, particularly in the eclipse seasons, because the eclipses are now happening in the Virgo Pisces axis. So last March, 6 months ago, we had the eclipses in Virgo Pisces. Now we have these eclipses in Virgo Pisces. And then the end of February into March will be the next eclipses. So we also want to be aware of that sort of marker that we're moving through these, we could say these portals of time. The March eclipse, you can really get in touch with what came through in March that has been in process, that is now sort of coming to a culmination or maybe coming up more in some way for the culmination to be basically transmuted or transformed in some way to something else. I like to use the terminology of next level. You know, the next level. I also often refer to a video game, even though I am not a gamer and have never video gamed, but it somehow makes so much sense to look at it like that because I think we all get it that we do go to the next level, like a video game where it's like, okay, you've figured it out, and the next level is going to be more advanced. It's going to be maybe a little harder. You're you're going to need a bit more awareness. We don't just start on the next level, we progress to the next level. And that's also what the lunar cycle represents to me also. It's so beautiful, so amazing and magical like that, the way we cycle the spiral dance, the spiral journey. We just keep from one to the next. And this also is what I am really appreciating and fascinated about the fact that we're having a very rare experience of a new moon at 0 degrees of Virgo, which is the very first degree. So every sign of the zodiac goes from 0 to 29. So 0 degrees is the very beginning, the birth, which when we get to the end of this lunar cycle that we're about to enter, and we enter the next one at the next new moon, it'll be at 29. So it's representing how we will be much more evolved. Literally, we're going to go from 0 to 29 will be all the work that we do in this upcoming cycle. And it will be work because it's Virgo. Virgo is all about work. What are you going to work on is actually like the question right now. What would you like to develop more? What do you want to get more devotional towards? What do you want to work on in yourself? What skill, what craft, what needs healing? What needs nurturing? What needs some like tender focus? You know, Virgo Pisces is all about healing, wholeness, wellness. It's also very much about humanity, that we are humans. We're having a very, very human experience. And I just love to remind myself of that a lot and to like look at people like that too, that almost like I think it's probably come with age. Like the more and more I'm just like, we're just humans. Like we just really are, you know, we all just like struggle and make mistakes. And it's a bit of an excruciating journey, right? I think we all can agree. It's pretty, it's quite challenging. It's quite hard. And of course we can be like, oh yeah, it's so amazing. And that's what Virgo Pisces is representing, actually. But within both of them is, again, I always talk about the yin yang. It's the best way to look at it. Like there is that little dot within the whole that represents that it's all there. It's always all there. So Pisces can represent the ultimate dream, that this world is amazing. Like literally this earth, like when we think of the other planets in our solar system, there is not life on them. They're not hospitable, right? But Earth, like everything is alive. I was talking to my daughter about this the other day because we live on the Big Island and it's tropical. It's a tropical jungle and it's like it gets dark and it gets loud. Like there's like these little coqui frogs and it's just like the loudest thing. It's like amazing. And then there are critters out there, like there are bugs. Like, and I think about it sometimes like, whoa, everything just came alive. Like, imagine, and it's almost like we're being overrun by ants all the time. And it's like, how many ants are here? Like, are they in the walls of my house? Are they all over the grass? Are they in every home? Like, whoa. And then that made me think about Earth itself. Like, everything is alive. We have like the plants and the ocean and all the animals and the fish and the bugs. And oh my God, we live on this earth that is just like super amped up with like life. And so, Pisces, all that is the existence of everything. It is truly so alive and so amazing and so beautiful. And that is also our existence. So, we know that there is so much beauty, joy, bliss, amazingness to experience. And we get that. We get to have that. And then also, yeah, the human experience, we are challenged and there is pain and it's part of the process, right? And that is so really so much what Virgo Pisces is about. And I often talk about that Virgo is the human. It's like when we come to this place where Virgo is the physical earth embodied experience that we manifest our spirit, Pisces, from out of the ethers, from out of the infinite potential, from we tap creative potential from who knows where, source, God, universe, divine, right? We tap it, we, it comes through us, we channel, we create, we birth through our body, and we make physical and we manifest. So Virgo is about manifesting into the physical form from out of spirit, ethers, the unseen. So that's where we're entering that duality of those two realms, the infinite, the unseen, and the tangible make real physical, and just how they interface, right? And a lot of us know already so much about how physical ailments manifest from psyche, from emotion, from the mind. Like they come from somewhere else first before, before we get the headache, it came from somewhere. Before we get the stomach issues, it came from whether it's, the psyche in some way, the deep soul experience, the emotional body, the belief systems, what we're holding in our physical, right? There's just all these layers. And so I want to take us through quickly. I have like some special things planned for today. Just I want to orient us into really understanding because I focus a lot on how to bring astrology out of just the mind and into an embodied experience so we can actually connect with the fact that it's literally within us. Because for so long, astrology has been really just an intellectual pursuit. And we gain a lot of insight, but then it's kind of like, well, what do we do with that insight? And I've moved more into this space because for over 20 years I've been doing this, right? And so I can look back on my life and be like, well, I still struggled and I was still constantly trying to heal and overcome, even though I was an astrologer for like a whole decade. Like I had so much insight about myself and other people. Why are these patterns still happening? And so it started to become very clear, which, many of us know already that it's like, yeah, insight is one aspect of awareness and transformation and development and evolution, but it's also like embodiment is so important. We literally need to do what's necessary to shift on the level of identity and essentially on the level of the nervous system and the subconscious programming because we are patterns. So how do we do that? Because if we are so programmed, if we are so patterned, and we know that we are, it's not even a question. Like we know the 95% subconscious is directing our life, that is what's happening. And we know that our nervous system always responds to the familiar and fight, flight. If you've been in fight, flight for most of your life, then that's just where you go, unless you start to repattern your nervous system consciously. And yeah, a lot of this is just coming out. And I think it's very much about Pluto entering Aquarius, Uranus entering Gemini, that we are getting way more aware and privy to the mind, right? And what's actually going on in the mind, because we also know that scientists haven't really known a lot about the mind for a very long time. And now more and more, we're just understanding so much more about how we're working. And so I want to take us through. I took some notes here because I don't want to forget anything. So first, I want to talk about the zodiac wheel, because I want to, what we all know that 2025 is a very significant year of major changes. A lot of planetary positions are shifting. And so that is powerful. And so, but what does it mean? How do we feel that? So that's what I'm going to bring us through today, through this journey of what does it mean? How can we feel? How can we experience that Pluto has moved from Capricorn to Aquarius, that Uranus has moved from Taurus to Gemini, that Neptune is moving from Pisces to Aries, and that Saturn is moving from Pisces to Aries. So we know that. We know that's why 2025, 2024 to 2025, and 2026, when it starts to just smooth itself out, that we are in a hugely transitional year astrologically. So internally, we are in, that is what's happening inside. So we're going to go on this journey. So first, let's understand the zodiac wheel is the representation of the evolution of consciousness, right? It's representing the developmental stages that we progressively move through in our psyche, in the evolution of our own awareness and growth. It represents this, right? Through archetype signatures that we all experience, because we also know that the planets represent, like, we can say the psycho-spiritual functions, right? It represents like a psychological connected to our spiritual beingness functions that we're all experiencing. And so when we experience the planets, they bring us into, let me bring up what I want to bring us through. So, okay. So we do feel how the planets, like, they transform us and they immerse us in a process, right? And each one has their own flavor of a process that they're bringing us through. And we're always in a multi-layered process. It's simultaneously different things are happening. Like we can be letting go of a huge chapter of our life. We can be going through a major, no longer with a long-term relationship, and that's closing, that's moving out, and what's coming. So we know that simultaneously we can be ending a huge experience of self and beginning a new experience of self. So we already get that there's a lot going on all at once. We are these multidimensional beings having a multidimensional experience, right? So let me take us through. Yeah, I'm going to rewind a minute before I head on to the planet. So let's go through the zodiac first. So I like to imagine actually a baby. Okay, so baby is born. So Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, and Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So Pisces is the ending. It's the culmination of all that is, all that exists, all just like merged into one great sea of everything that is. And so it's the infinite, it's the creator, it's all that is, it's potential. And from that, we are born, right? So I also call it like the primordial field or the primordial womb. And so from out of nothing, or from out of the abyss, or from out of that, we are born into Aries. So from out of the womb, we are born into body, right? And the body is seated in the womb in that dark, watery realm, literally first, right? So that's just so fascinating, that where do we come from before we're implanted in the womb of our mother? And then we live in that womb space, that dark, watery realm, that we're tethered by an umbilical cord to the mother. And then we come forth and we're like free to exist on the earth plane as our own individual being. And so that reality too of being tethered by an umbilical cord to our mother, I deeply feel and experience life that we have an umbilical cord that tethers us to the infinite. And I feel that's sort of how like also astrology is working, that it's just like we are connected, we are of that, we are nurtured and we are supported and we are of it. So baby is born into Aries. And so when you experience Aries, Aries is body. It is a pure, instinctual, physical. And from that, and it's very like self-involved, self-focused, survival instinct, and all about experience. It's just like primal experience is like hyped up. And then from that, baby learns to deepen more into the groundedness of its body and of its form in reality on the earth plane. It starts to get more grounded in it. And that is Taurus, to actually stand up, get solid, get rooted, and have some kind of, there is a deeper level of rooted agency that is developed from Aries to Taurus, where Aries is just like flailing into experience. Because let's talk about the elements for a minute too. So we have fire, earth, air, water, and fire is the spiritual body, air is the physical, earth is the physical body, air is the mental body, and water is the emotional body. So we know we have the spiritual, physical, mental, and emotional bodies. So from fire, from spirit, comes out of the watery realms of the infinite of Pisces, come in spirit, in body, but still very like tethered to the other side, right? We know that about babies. We can look at them and it's like, yeah, you're here, but like, where are you and where did you come from? There's like these big, huge eyes and there's so much going on in there. And that's so amazing. And we can see that in a person who's like Pisces Aries too. Like Aries are Aries, but they came from Pisces. And they very much hold this like otherworldly kind of still one foot in the other realm energy, Aries, even though they're like, bam, I'm here. And they're not quite grounded yet, but they're getting there heading towards Taurus. So Taurus gets more grounded, more stable. It's fixed earth. It's like, yes, I'm here. They say the terrible twos too, like, no, 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 like me energy. That's Taurus. From that developmental stage going on. And again, what I'm showing us here is this evolution of the development of our own psyches that is a spiral. So we just keep moving through it, moving through it. And every season activates a certain territory. Every season activates this whole spiral dance. And then within a season, all kinds of things are, compounded activations with all the planets. And then our charts is just this whole thing. Okay, so from Taurus, then from that into now communication, Gemini, air. How am I engaging with this actual environment via communication, via information, the knowledge and the experience of everything that's actually going on in the mind now here, right? So that's Gemini, that developmental stage, how we actually interpret and engage with our experience and with what's going on around us, our environment. And then the fourth is water, Cancer, the emotions, our needs, our feelings. So, and these first four are very primal to the self development, right? So, from like, I am here, give me space, to I have a specific self in Taurus, to I communicate and perceive in a certain way via my mind, to and I feel in a very unique, specific way, because we are also unique and specific because we're born under so many different configurations of influences. Like we represent that we are, yeah, that we are an imprint of the cosmic moment. the configuration of everything that is going on if we're thinking about the planets, right? And so we come in through this energetic frequency, it is an imprint upon us, and we move with that, evolving from that place, right? So all of these different dynamic qualities. And then Leo goes from that water to fire. So from all that emotion, it now goes back into this spiritual, like, inspiration. Now I am me. I am more me. I'm going to express me. And but of course there's a journey of how well is our environment supporting this developmental process is going to condition how well we're showing up mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually in our creative expressions. So then from Leo, we go to Virgo, and Virgo goes into a tone of a much more seriousness. It it tempers the freedom of self. I think, from first to fifth, it's like a tempering of like a child, right? Children are so self-focused. It's just it is all about them, and they're incredibly needy. They need, they just like need help, need support, need sustenance, need all the time, right? So it's just like reaching for kind of thing constantly, like reaching to the self, 1 through 5. Very much that. This self development, self awareness process. But then Virgo really represents like, okay, hey, let's up level into a next level of maturity. So like a Virgo child could be quite mature. They're more serious, they're more responsible, they're more disciplined on certain levels, right? I was a Virgo child, I'm a Virgo sun. But there's this bridge now that we enter a Virgo where the developmental process shifts, and it becomes a much deeper going inward to really assess the self and the journey so far. Like, how am I doing on all those levels? Because Virgo is the epitome, the height of self awareness. So, where the 1 through 5 is like developing in its own unique way, the self awareness, Virgo is the totality of all of that, and now assessing it and refining it and developing it and tweaking it and doing anything necessary, right? So Virgo's main sort of mechanism and function is to just sort of correct, make things better. That's what they do in space. It's like, oh, this needs fixing, and and you need fixing, and this thing on the shelf needs moving, and what can we do to make things better? And so that's what the Virgo initiation or stage is all about. We are in a process of development. We're in a process of growth. So what do we need to do here to ensure the success and health of this organism, this life that we're creating? And Virgo is highly attuned to those questions. What needs fixing? What needs help? What needs support? And therefore, since those are the core questions, there is what results from that is, well, what do I need to do? And what also results from that is a high ability to notice, right? They are the critiques, the judges. Like, I see what's going on. I see that that's out of place. I see that that's not good. That's not well. That's broken. That needs help. That needs work. That needs fixing, right? This is what Virgo does. It's paying attention to where something needs adjustment, whether by opinion or by necessity. And it also, Virgo represents crisis. It's actually a mechanism of crisis. Pisces, Virgo can both represent crisis, where suffering and victimization and these kind of things happen because if we don't make adjustments, crisis happens, right? Like, we do have to reach stages of adjustment no matter what we're doing. We can't just like play all day or work all day. Like, it just can't go like that. We have to make adjustments in life in all areas. Doesn't matter what it is, whatever we're talking about, right? Food, health, relationships, work, money, all the things. So Virgo is that ever-present reminder that, okay, things are going good, things are going good, things are going good, and oop, time for adjustment because we're in a evolving process. We're always growing. So of course, there's always going to be, we're going to always reach places of limitation where growth and expansion, these different arenas always are going to occur. So we hit those. And why crisis is uh associated and like a constant in Virgo, it is like a mechanism in the same way that depression is a mechanism of Capricorn. So we want to remind ourselves that these aren't inherently negative. Like crisis isn't a negative, depression isn't a negative. It's actually, it can be looked at like an actual necessary function. Like where Capricorn contains and contains and contains, and that can turn into too much holding, too much suppressing, too much repressing, which is necessary to a degree. Like we're going to commit and we're going to commit and we're going to commit. And then it's like, oh, like I'm too confined here. And, or there's like something got depressed. It got pushed aside. It got pushed away because we needed to control or moderate or monitor. And so depression comes up to be like, hey, went too far somewhere, right? So it's like actually a healthy response to what is developed into an unhealthy pattern. And in the same way, crisis that Virgo and Pisces can often fall into is a similar thing. If we look at any type of crisis that goes on regularly in our lives, it usually does represent we've reached a critical mass where this could have been solved sooner. This could have been adjusted, like I always end up using the example of coffee because it's like the bane for me. Like I love it so much. Sometimes I want to stop. And so that thing of like, well, now I'm addicted. Well, I could have stopped that. I could have prevented that. But I didn't because I indulged in my 2 cups of morning coffee every day for years, right? So situations can happen when we create patterns, when we devote, when we commit to whatever it is, and then the crisis happens. But the crisis doesn't always happen. Let's even take like drug addiction or alcoholism. It's not a crisis until it's a crisis. There's that impending, you know, situation that it will likely become a crisis, but we sort of avoid it until the crisis is knocking on our door. And then it's like, oh, yeah, the crisis has come. So, what I'm saying is often crises can be avoided, but the reason why they're not is because we actually need help stopping the pattern because we are human beings who do get addicted. We want to take, we want to have, we want to experience, and we are also beings that are attached. We naturally get attached to things. I like it. I like coffee. I'm totally attached to coffee. It's so good in the morning and I just want it. But it doesn't always feel good on my stomach. And I am aware of that. And I really hope it doesn't create a longer term problem, but it might. And that could turn into a crisis. And then I'm going to know once I hit that crisis, like, oh, I could have prevented this, but I just enjoyed it so much. And so we see that in all different ways, right? So this thing about crisis within the Virgo Pisces. So it's there. We are in that season. That's why I'm spending a little bit more time on that because we all might sort of hit our marker of crisis or maybe prevent a crisis during this cycle or the next. But from Virgo now, then we go into Libra. Like now, all this 1 through 6, immense amount of self-awareness, self-focus, self-development happening. Now Libra is like, oh yeah, there's others. How do they respond to me? What do they think about me? What do they actually need? Oh, what can I do for them? Libra is awareness of others. That takes us up to from the first 6 to the next 6 and brings us into the social arena, the social realm, which gradually gets more and more social as we step each side. So from Libra awareness, and then of course we have all the planets, but we'll go deeper into that. I do already in my school and all the time, but there's many layers of how to look at this zodiac in this way. I'm just speeding through it right now. But we want to keep in mind the planets also. Libra is ruled by Venus, so that's there too, the relationship to self dynamic, now expanding into relationship with others. Then we go to Scorpio, which all of a sudden there's this developmental process going on around, whoa, there are forces outside of me that are so powerful, even maybe more powerful than me, just as powerful than me. Maybe I'm more powerful than forces outside of me. And power, Scorpio, eighth house, power, and how it is so much about all the water signs are unity. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, the unity that Scorpio unites us. We learn how to unite, to deeply merge with another person. Like we literally sexually come together in union. We create another being. We yeah, we merge with identities, with professions, with money, with status. We something becomes us and we become it, and we literally change. So that's Scorpio, Pluto. We go through we like alchemy and metamorphosis, transformation. Like we are these evolving beings, and it's a process, and it's underway and it's happening. And so Scorpio brings us into that awareness, the power of others, the power of self. It is soul, Pluto, Scorpio, deep soul and psyche. And so it also connects to loss, abandonment, betrayal, that these things do happen. We do lose people. So we're so attached to our children, to senses of self, to our people, and then they go for whatever reason. And so that leads us to Neptune and Pisces, where we have to we have to accept on some level the loss. And how that always, like, that really kind of excruciating and yet beautiful experience of Scorpio, of the eighth house of Pluto, that we are so attached, and we will lose. We will lose ourselves. We'll lose everything actually that we build and work for. And we can pass things on, like the legacy and that kind of thing. But yeah, that's that stage, deeply powerful. And then ninth house is like expansion into more, open up into more. And of course, all of these are opposite. They're signs like Gemini. Sagittarius is now taking us into more expansion. And so again, we're thinking of this baby, right? So it's like, oh, the self, and then responsibility, and then others. And then Sagittarius takes us into like, whoa, there's a whole nother world out there. There's like so much more beyond my world, this world, that world, and even that world. There's just like so much more. And then Capricorn takes all that now, the 1 through 9. Now we're at the 10. And Capricorn, like, okay, I'm going to ground this. And Capricorn is such a powerful stage of development, Saturn, 10th house, because it's like, how capable are you of sustaining life, of sustaining your life? Like, do you have your sovereignty? Do you have your agency developed? Do you have your personal authority that began in Cancer? I have feelings, I have needs, I have a self, I have personal authority, I have agency. But it was developing. And then as we go through and we have the experience of self and other, and self, inner world and outer world, when we get to the 10th house, it becomes this, I associate it with Christ consciousness, 10th house Capricorn, because it is this like, it's sort of the ideal, the highest sort of essence or archetype or frequency that Capricorn represents, is that grounded in personal authority. So much so that we so powerfully know how to take care of ourselves with such a high level of integrity and standard and boundaries that we would never do anything harmful to ourselves. And so therefore we learn, Capricorn, how to create a very provision. We know how to provide for ourselves, how to have resources, how to have a foundation, how to have a home and money and what we need to sustain ourselves. And then when we get so even better at that, we can share it with others. And we become like even more provisional, right? It's the archetype of the father opposite the archetype of the mother, the ultra nurturer, who of course is nurturing herself 100%. That's the moon and Cancer archetype, that when we learn how to absolutely care for ourselves, then all our needs are inherently met. And when anything sort of trespasses us or hurts us, of course, we feel it and we deal with it, but we can still support ourselves in it. Right. And so that's the Cancer moon energy on an emotional level. And then the Saturn is representing on the physical level. And I can take that out into the world. And so that's a beautiful, amazing dance between fourth and 10th, where to come out into the world and actually share ourselves, we have to be more and more confident and rooted within our own emotional body. If we don't feel emotionally safe, it's very difficult to have a presence in the world. And that's what a lot of people are developing. So we can see in this wheel that process. The more we have self-love and love ourselves, then we can love others. We know how we have standards of how we're going to be treated, how others are going to treat us. We create a world that represents those standards and that self-love. That becomes our world. That world gets expanded as we live and experience and share. And then the 10th house is like, yeah, it becomes a socialized experience where now we can actually influence beyond ourselves. We influence society, we influence the community, we influence our family, just our beingness, in our groundedness, in that sovereignty, agency, self-care, and ability to provide for ourselves what is necessary, again, on the levels of integrity, because nothing is really can function without integrity. That's what Saturn and Capricorn represents. We have to be true. We have to be honest. We have to be respectful. We have to have all of these, like, basically high virtues. That's what Capricorn represents, right and wrong. And we all know inherently there is what's right and there is what's wrong. And so that is Capricorn. And then from there, after establishing systems and containers and things that support us, well, that ends up moving into Aquarius, which is like, okay, well, we still need to individualize. We can't get lost in all this group dynamic. Like, who are you? Who are we? And also, it's not all everlasting. The structures are going to need to develop, as we grow, as the life changes, right? So Aquarius is going to represent that eternal change, that eternal growth, that eternal uniqueness that is constant and consistent. It's like the onion. I often look at Aquarius in the 11th house and Uranus like the onion. We just keep peeling and peeling and peeling to get to this like unique essence. But is it ever ending? I don't think so. It just like sort of never ends, because we represent the cosmic creation that is also evolving. So as we sort of find more of our uniqueness, there's opportunity to expand into more of the unknown and find more and more and more. So then here we are at Aquarius, the revolution, where we're at the epitome of unique self after the 1 through the 11th. It's so powerful. And then it just all sort of, yeah, we release the ego, we release the attachment into Pisces, and then we come around again. So from there, I want to take us quickly through the Pluto, the Neptune, the Uranus, and the Saturn that we are in, because I know that I've talked about it. I know a lot of you have heard a lot about it or following it. It's just out there. Everybody's talking about it with the astrology. So just want to ground a little bit more. So this thing with Pluto was in Capricorn from 2008 to 2025, 24. Okay, yeah. And that was 14 years. So what does it mean that we moved from Pluto in Capricorn to Pluto in Aquarius? What does it mean, right? So first I want to mention that, okay, so all of the planets are representing these transformations that we go through. And also we want to participate on a conscious level, right? So it is an experience that's happening, but we also want to be participating. So with Pluto particularly, it is the transformation through union and detachment, right? So they're all representing transformation because we're just in a process of transformation. So in what way? So Pluto is this death rebirth, the Lord of the underworld. And so what it's really representing is that there's always some area of life that we are attached to, and we're experiencing that. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually the good thing. It's a process. Learn about attachment. But we will also reach a point where we are detaching from that. Right? Like we all just know this. It's so fascinating. It's Pluto. Like we grow, we let go of our younger years, and then like being a child, and then we move into being a teenager, and then the 20s and the 30s, and it's like just that as an example of like we're in it, we're attached to it. Like, oh, I'm a teenager. Yeah, teenager. Like I'm doing what teenagers do. I'm attached to that identity and that experience in some way. And then we grow out of it. And then it's like, oh, I'm not that anymore. Now I'm this, right? And so that's Pluto. So when Pluto comes around to our own chart, wherever it is in our own chart, that's the process. So wherever your Pluto is, that's the lifetime process of what you're evolving on such a deep, higher level, deep and higher. It's like the deepest soul level of what you're evolving because you're so attached to it. That is like your realm, wherever your Pluto is in your birth chart. And then it moves very slowly. So it progressively evolves us to the next, right? All of the planets are going to do this. So what does it mean moving from Pluto and Capricorn to Pluto and Aquarius? So Pluto and Capricorn, what were we doing? We were breaking down Capricorn is all about the structure that's supporting us, right? Where we learn to support ourselves. We learn to find support systems, and then we realize maybe that they're not supporting us. And then we have to break it down. So when Pluto came into Capricorn from 2008 to 2024, there was the Lord of the underworld, the breakdown, the death and rebirth on the level of our support systems. So it went into all areas of institutions. And we know that with hospitals and schools and governments and country borders, and so much got broken down. And so where in our own chart was this happening? What house was that happening? The deconstruction of the structures that were in place, the support systems that were in place. First, recognizing, there's that process, like what's not supporting me here and how do I get out of this? And then how do I establish different systems? So that's where we've been. And now with Pluto moving into Aquarius, now that we've done that work, it's like moving from Capricorn to Aquarius, the 10th house to the 11th house. We're in this process of now it's like the change. 11th house Aquarius is like radical change from reinstitutionalizing, new systems being put in place, a lot of old systems breaking down. So it's a very transitional place of that's not there anymore, or that's not the way it was. There's a new system in place. There's new support systems in place. There is a new reality that Aquarius, the 11th house, is now representing. And how do I stay uniquely true to myself in this journey of reestablishing this whole new path that I'm on now? So Pluto in Aquarius for the next 20 years is representing that we've come into this place of this is a whole new world. We have cleared a lot, and it's transitional. Let's remember too, we're in the very beginning of Aquarius. So we're just the old establishments, some are still breaking down. Obviously, we can see that in the world, in our lives too, because that's how cycles work, right? It's not just like a hard close of beginning end. It's like, oh, I can feel the ending still. We're sort of still dragging the ending with us into the new beginnings until, maybe midway through. It's like, yeah, that was yesterday's, and so yeah, and it's revolutionary. And so we're in that place. So you want to look at where in your chart is that happening. And now let's look at Neptune. So now we also have Neptune spent 14 years in Pisces and now has moved into Aries. So 2025 is defining all these big shifts with the planets from one long-term cycle into a brand new cycle that is seeding. So we are all seeding brand new a brand new world in our own life. It's underway. And that's the important thing to remember. 2025, it is like underway because what's happening too with Neptune and Saturn is they're bouncing into Aries, staying there for half of 2025, like they've already done. Now they're retrograding back into Pisces for the rest of 2025 until February and March of 2026. They're going to be back in Pisces until they drop back into Aries and stay there for the long term. So inside us, we can also know that we are being now, as Neptune and Saturn are retrograding, we're being pulled back into the old world. The stuff yet that we have not fully cleared, I like to bring in the feng shui analogies, like clear the space, clean it up, let it go. Like it's one thing to just like put things in a corner in a box. It's a whole nother thing to get rid of the box, right? To like really clean out the space or move to a completely different space altogether, right? So that's like where we all are now. Like so much awareness around what we are releasing is up for a lot of us. New identities, new things are birthing, but maybe not like fully actualized and realized in all of these new things. Maybe starting a bunch of what do I start? Oh, I can feel like a whole new world is there. And it's really coming in 2026 and 2027, right? Like that. But we're in this huge transitional place. So Neptune, what is the process of transformation with Neptune? Neptune is an amazing one because it's hope and despair. It's, that pendulum that swings like one minute we can have hope of the dream and the potential and oh my God, I believe in my potential. I can have this, I can do this. And then we have despair. It's so hard. Will I ever get it? The world, there's so much pain and destruction and sadness. And it's like, that multi-dynamic experience that we all exist in. So Neptune is disillusionment and enlightenment. We can reach peaks, like orgasm with someone you love is like, where did I just go? Holy wow, that was an amazing experience. That was connection. That was intimacy. That was cosmic. That was whoa. That was, I feel like I received some, enlightened moment. Like that was like multi-dimensional. We have that experience as human beings. We can go into the Neptunian other realms. We can touch a person's soul, and even with like babies and children and friends, like we can touch a soul, we can touch a heart, we can like really see into the beingness of a person. It is like so amazing, right? So, but there's also disillusionment there too. Like, did I really just feel that? Did you feel that too? Like, was that just all in my head? Like, was that real? Like it's so incredible, right? And so there's the ascension with Neptune, the multidimensional, the dissolving, like we dissolve into nothing. Neptune transits can be really hard. My own Neptune transit when Neptune opposed my sun and I became pregnant and it was like, whoa, what just happened? I'm not going to stay with this baby daddy. Okay. I'm not going to stay in this country. I'm going to go land somewhere I've never lived before. Now I'm alone. I'm having a baby. I lived on an island for 20 years. Now I'm here. Like I walked around for 4 years with Neptune opposing my sun, having that child, living in like, where am I and how did this happen? This was not the plan. I was not expecting this. I literally felt like I got picked up and put down, like plop, like a pawn in a game. That's really how I felt. And knowing that I was under this Neptunian transit, I did my best and I worked with it. And I was just like, okay, like it felt like everything got taken away, like I dissolved. I had nothing I had before. It was all gone. I had this whole new world that I didn't particularly want or care for. Not my baby. I wanted my baby. But like where I was, the neighborhood, the home, the place, the state, I was like, why am I here? But I felt something very karmic, very like, okay, I'm going to surrender to, I am meant to be here. But that's Neptune. We may never know why. It may never come clear. It is so in the I don't understand, and there is no explaining this mystery. And so Neptune in your own chart is that. It's like it may be your genius. Like you may be so good at that realm, that is where your creative potential is just like going off and you know it and it's amazing. But like the vastness is still there. Like I just don't even know. Like we can't connect to, we just don't, right? It's the ultimate dark mystery realms that is Neptune. And so when it comes around, it's there to remind us of surrender, submission, like we are forced into submission at times. Like there's nothing else for you to do here. Grieving, mercy, mystery. It's Prometheus. It's the dreamer, right? Spirit realm unseen. So Pisces, Neptune was in Pisces for from like 2011 through 2025. And so a lot of us know like the 2012 time, like with the Mayan calendar and the end of consciousness, the beginning of a new consciousness. Like I just see it as that spirituality was awakening on a mass level when Neptune was moving through its own sign of Pisces from 2011 through 2025. So much more spirituality and mediumship and tarot and all the things, because also the internet, which is also Neptune and Pisces, being there is no boundary. We are all connected to everybody now in so many ways. And that's Neptune in Pisces. So we had that. So now what? Now what with Neptune moving from Pisces into Aries that we're experiencing? So now it moves into the sign of individuation, individuality, myself. So now that we just got all connected by the internet and we can connect with everybody and everybody can see us, and there's not all that much privacy anymore, not all that much boundaries anymore. And some of us choose it. I'm just going to put it all out there. And it's a thing that we're in this the loose boundaries experience of Pisces, right? And now Aries is like, wait. Don't get lost in all that. Like, who are you as an individual? Because a lot of people did get lost in like, whoa, being pulled, and we're still lost. We're pulled in all these different directions, right? So who are we? So that's what Neptune moving through Aries is going to do. And of course, there's a shadow and a light to this. Some people like, the president of the US and whatnot, really taking it to the extreme, right? Like, oh, the superior identity, my identity. So Neptune can do that in Aries, where now it's just like, it's all about me. There's a very positive component to this of like, we do need to individualize. We do need to more and more realize who we are on an individual level, that what is our subconscious doing? The fact that we can actually get a hold on our own subconscious programming. We don't need to be like, we have been subjected to the patterns of where we come from and, programming for so long. But guess what? Now we know that we can reprogram our nervous system. We can reprogram our subconscious. We can do that. It's somatic now. It's a somatic work. We're all getting into it. And it's like, so we can develop our power of sovereignty and self even more than we ever have. And this is Neptune in Aries. This is Pluto in Aquarius, the sign of the individual. Now, and then Saturn is all about that function in our psyche that is about establishing order and structure. So now Saturn comes in, and Saturn is faster. It only spends 2.5 years in a sign. So it was moving through Pisces and over the past couple years, where I think we can all relate that the past couple years, the internet got even more faster, information even more like, whoa. So Saturn came in to say, look at reality. This is not stopping. This is just gonna keep going. Bigger, 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 more and more experience of connectivity. Pisces, but Saturn is all about, so like, well, we need to control this in some way. We need to create some kind of systems and containers and definition to support, you know, the chaos, because Pisces is chaos. So how can we manage the chaos? So Saturn in Pisces has been doing that for the past couple years in our own life. So we've been getting a look at what is out of control? What is the chaos? Where do we not have enough boundaries? But also on the highest, most positive level, opening us up literally to more of our psychic abilities, more of our sensitivity, and asking us, calling us into ground. Because, yes, what did I write when I was like channeling this whole message? It's like, so the map of astrology is going to show us a particular moment. And yeah, it's like, so it becomes, there's a vibe, there's a calling, there's an impulse, there's an invitation, there's a lesson, there's growth. So that's always what's happening. Like, what's the vibe right now? So when we go to and look at Uranus, like Uranus has moved into Gemini. So Uranus is the mechanism of liberation. Where are we looking to liberate? So when it was from 2018 to 2025 in Taurus, we were liberating Taurus on financial levels, on levels of the body. Way more body awareness has come through. Liberating and up leveling in mind, right? So on values, our value systems, because of all the change, because of all the spirit coming through, because of all the technology, our values have gone through a total revolution in the past 8 years. Like, we don't value the same things anymore. We forced to value on different levels. So now that Uranus did that for 7 years in Taurus, now what in Gemini? Well, we're going to take that, the Uranus re like the breaking down of our values and what now is now moving into Gemini of, well, now what is our perspective on everything? It's all changed. And so Uranus and Gemini is the environment. The environment is going to change incredibly. I'm already seeing people online, like, I'm an entrepreneur, right? So I'm online doing online business, and I see a lot of online people doing businesses and coaching and the whole thing. It is changing like quickly. Over the past couple months, people aren't interested, and maybe you feel this too. I'm not interested in seeing the same things I've been seeing for years, seeing the way people are showing up for years. Things are revolutionizing. Uranus and Gemini, the way we're having perspective over things, the truth about things, the way our knowledge about things, our information, it is changing our perspective on a very visceral and mental level. So where is that changing in you? I just want to say, like, expect to change, right? And so that leads me into, I'm just going to talk quickly about one thing I want to let everybody know is I have a membership that I lead every month, ongoing every week, and it's a paid subscription, and it's amazing. It's a whole evolutionary astrology school and shamanic process, and I'm opening it up for the next month for a free pass for a month to anybody who wants to come in to journey through this whole eclipse cycle with me. And there is a whole library of classes and everything, but I'll be teaching 3 classes. The first one is this Sunday, then next Friday, and then the following Sunday. So if you want to come into that. And I work a lot with the nervous system. and subconscious reprogramming. Because as I was saying, I learned through so many years of astrology that we can only get so far with our awareness and insight. We really need to do the work. And so I have been going through trainings for years now on the somatic nervous system level. And I do have a whole library in there with about 10 or so at this point, videos on just somatic processes and just how to move energy, how to shift patterns on a visceral body level. And so I do every month, I move with a new theme. And so last month's theme was expanding our capacity to receive more, to be obsessed, the Leo energy, to be more obsessed with, what we love. Like, I love my partner, I love my kids, I love my home, because a lot of us don't move like that. We're just kind of like, oh, other things are distracting me or stressing me. But when we can actually cultivate a state of being, this is what this is about, that we are literally, we have the power to embody our own states of being. And yes, we are influenced. And yes, there is interference. And yes, we can be controlled. But as sovereign beings, we have the power. But it actually, agency is about effort and willingness, right? It's not like, it's not a lazy thing. Like, to be in your agency is to be conscious, willing, and putting in, and intentional about our lives. And so that's that. Yeah, just cultivating this awareness around, let's get obsessed with, like, instead of like, oh, I'm annoyed, it's too, like, for me, oh, it's so loud, and this one's interrupting again, and this one's talking again, and just like all these things that can come in and annoy us. And then we can live in a state of annoyance or frustration or stress. And then it sort of becomes us. And then that's who we become. And then that's what our world becomes. And that is how life works, right? So it's like, the more and more aware we get of our subconscious programming and our ability to be aware and cultivate our own frequencies and energies and states of being, and then actually, yeah, just like repattern the nervous system, that I no longer get so bothered by the little things anymore, because I actually did expand my nervous system to hold more. I literally did this. I used to be a very, very ultra sensitive person, and noise was a huge thing for me. And now I live in a house with tons of kids. And I, yeah, it was a process. And now, like, people don't recognize me, like my old friends and stuff. I was like, how do I'm quite happy with all the noise that's going on around me. Not all the time. I need to get away and I have my own space, but I can handle, because my nervous system can handle. And I'm not disassociating and I'm not detaching. I can handle more. And so we all can. That is the work of expanding our capacity. So this month that we're moving into with Virgo, I like this. It's funny to me. It's like, it's like I'm finding a lot of humor in this one. It's expanding our capacity to be delusional, which I was against being a delusional for so long, growing up in environments where people were actually delusional, and I didn't know what was like real or honest or true. Like, can someone just be honest with me here? But now, this idea to also to live in expectancy, which is very Virgo, and often expectation and to be delusional, we have very negative connotations to them. So what I'm bringing forth for this cycle is that to expand our capacity to be delusional about what you want, about your dream, about your potential to have what you want. Because the thing about, like, people talk about it on the level of manifestation, and that's been a bit corrupted and distorted in a lot of ways. So it's like, where I'm coming from is, yes, of course, we're manifestors. We absolutely manifest our reality. And, it's a process. There is like work or effort behind it. But what I mean is that we can want, we can want things, but we can also expect that we're not going to get them. And that's a contradiction, right? So I can want the greatest love experience of my life, but I can expect that my man is going to ignore me, because maybe that's the pattern. Or I can expect that I'm not going to meet a good person, someone's story. I'm not going to meet someone because I never have. This whole thing of there's no one out there, there's no good guys in my town, like all these things that people do and say, right? So this idea that we need to watch our subconscious, we need to watch our mind and our belief on this level of I actually expect that what I'm creating is going to be successful. I expect that this is going to be valuable for you. I expect, and we can put this in anything. And yeah, it doesn't mean that it is what it is, right? It doesn't mean we're not flawed, that mistakes won't happen, that we're not going to accept reality for what actually happens. But to be able to look at life in another way, like I expect it's going to happen for me. I expect my dream is going to come true. And every day that happens, just because it hasn't, doesn't mean I doubt, doesn't mean it's just a process. It hasn't happened yet, because we also need to realize that the compound effect of reality, that things happen incrementally, right? I often talk about the pineapple theory, right? Pineapples take 18 months to grow. So you don't give up on a pineapple after 6 months, because you're never going to get the pineapple in 18 months. But so that's the same for all our dreams. All our dreams take time. Our life takes time. We don't know how long it's going to take. It's different than the pineapple. We know the pineapple is going to be 18 months. How long is your dream going to take? How long is it going to take for you to build that thing, to meet the person of your dreams, to, have the thing? We don't know, but we don't want to give up. But we do. That is the thing I'm talking about. We do give up. And then we want validation and we want confirmation. See, it didn't come. And this is all very Virgo. It didn't come. I'm not going to get it. I don't deserve it. Evidence proves to me it's not here yet. It never will. I tried today. I tried for 4 months. I tried for a year. It didn't come. So evidence says we do this. We give up on our own dreams and we don't actually live with expectancy. And I started to really look at this like, no, 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 I do have hope. I do believe in myself. I do value myself. I do all these things. But that expectation thing was a whole nother level. So that's why I'm bringing it, because I'm also doing this work too this month, that yeah, expanding the capacity. And so I'm just going to bring it to chart. I'm only going to talk about it for about 5-10 minutes. And then lastly, I'm just going to lead us through another 5 minute or so, just like grounding in little short, sweet meditation journey. And then we will be all ready to start this cycle. Here we are. So can you see the chart? Yes. Okay. So here we are tomorrow, new moon and sun in 0 degrees of Virgo. They are actually squaring Uranus. So that is a very potent quality that we do want to tap into for this particular moon time and this whole cycle. A square to Uranus is bringing in that tension of a revolution. Something needs to change. That is not necessarily easy, right? The square is the midpoint between what is and what has been. And so something is trying to really be let go of. What I also want to show us is that this new moon it's not an eclipse by 1 degree, or it would have been like a partial eclipse. Eclipses happen within a 17 degree. It's just 1 degree. But anyway, it's on the south node of the moon. The full moon is going to be on the north node of the moon. The north node is the future, the destiny, the evolution, the impulse to evolve into highest potential. The south node is, all that's been, all that we carry, all that we're holding. And so there, I always say the south node, there is a lot of power and personal potential in there, but there is also a big portion of that which needs to be let go of, right? Because we can't become something unless we let something go often, right? You can't be single and be married. You can't be a parent and not be a parent, right? Something shifts. Something has to go to become. So with a new moon on the south node, and the following new moon eclipse, which we'll talk about next cycle, will also be in Virgo at 29 degrees on the south node. So these new moon eclipsey energies, I'm calling this one an eclipsey energy, even though it's not quite an eclipse yet, but they're going to be on the south node. So the past is being invoked and provoked. The past is coming up. So maybe like a big shadow is looming and we're getting pulled back. The retrograde energies that are happening. So we can feel that likely and identify that in your life. So Virgo is asking, where do I need to have compassion? Where do I need to work on this? Where does something need my nurturing, my support, my attention? As far as maybe we need to take something that we are and nurture it, like a talent, a skill, your ability. Maybe you're an amazing speaker, maybe you're an amazing writer or painter or whatever, and you're not doing it. So why not? Like be who you are, be your potential, right? So there's that. And there's also that level of the negative mind. Virgo very much has to do with the negative mind. Where are we not valuing ourselves, not worthy enough, not good enough? Negative self-talk. So we need to be careful. That will come up and show us like, oh, I'm still doubting. I'm still not totally believing in myself, valuing all that I am, all the efforts that again, we are just human. We can make mistakes without having to beat ourselves up, right? Like humility absolutely is essential. Taking responsibility, accountability, all these things, yes, if we make mistakes, but like beating ourselves up, victimizing ourselves, villain victimization stuff, right? Like that's the things that could come up. Like let's put the stories to rest about like we were the victim and they were the villain and these kind of things that we perpetuate to stay in this sort of suffering consciousness, victimization consciousness under the burden of our own stories. So let's re-narrate, right? Let's shift the stories. Like, is there another way that you can see yourself or see the story of see your childhood or see the relationships in a way of what did it actually give you, right? Some kind of silver lining. And of course, it's not bypassing, it is simply allowing yourself to finally, or once and for all, or for a change, harness a different frequency and vibration out of your experience in your life story and bring it to life. Like, actually, you know, yeah, like the me being alone and doing all that stuff under my Neptune transit, it was excruciating, but a lot of good came out of it. I had a lot of time with my babies, and it was like there was beautiful things that came out of it. And so when I chose to stop focusing on that, it was a difficult time, and actually it was a time of a reprieve in my life. It gave me a pause where I could reorient and reground, and that I feel so strengthened by that. And now I can go on with a different story, right? So there's that. And Uranus, yeah, just always stay open for insight, awareness. Oh my God, now I realize ideas, inspirations, creativity, like go with them right now. Like if like projects are coming up, invitations, inspirations, it's like there is that awakening, the light bulb moments that are going off that we need to act on certain things. So there is that right now that we are moving into. And again, let's remember we are in the dark moon right now. So it's good to take a pause today, really assess what the last month has been like. Take all that you can from it. Like for me, the dark moon times is about really just like I acknowledge the hero's journey that I am on. I survived another chapter. I did a lot of good work. I helped myself. I helped others. I did the best I could. And trying to recognize like where did I do good? Where did I fight the dragon? Where did I like conquer some things in myself? Where did I take like maybe baby steps or big steps to actually get things done? Because like we were talking before this call, we don't always take account of everything that's going on. And then what happens? We don't honor the rites of passage. We don't take the gold from our journey, which actually is going to help to strengthen us, make us feel more valuable and worthy in this existence, because we actually take the time to stop and be like, whoa, I did a lot. I did a lot of good things and I grew. And so here we are on this dark moon day. So this is a good time to just take some, and it's stillness. It's the peak yin. It is the ultimate yin day today. So when we can get slow, when we can get reflective, when we can just allow, like, because literally, what is literally happening? We are in the dark moon. Tomorrow, the first light, the first crescent of light starts to develop, growth starts to happen. It's like that seed is like starts to burst. So right now, and what is that? That's our unconscious. A lot is like it's incubation. There's a lot incubating from a whole month's journey of effort and work. It's cultivating and it's integrating and it's moving in our mind and psyche, whether we pay attention to it or not. And it's incubating and life will birth out of it. Wisdom, all kinds of things to take us on our next chapter, our next journey. And here we go. Right. So that, and then just to bring us, because I'm actually not going to hold a full moon ceremony in 2 weeks this time because I'm going away on a trip and I'm really excited. I'm going on this whole 5-day conference party. It's going to be really amazing with women and entrepreneurs. And there's going to be about 1,000 amazing women from all over the world. So I'm really excited about that. And if anybody wants to know about it and can actually come, then contact me and I'll let you know about tickets because they're still selling them. But okay, so I want to just bring us into that. So the moon is going to be in Pisces at 15 degrees opposite the Virgo sun. So we can see now, 2 weeks later from now, that new moon gets closer to the south. The sun gets closer to the south node, still pulling a lot of south node energy, a lot of the past, a lot of, the old that we're working with. And the moon, though, joins up with the full moon, just a couple degrees joins up with the north node of the moon, amping out the north node, right? Full moon power, giving all this out power to the future, the highest potential, the direction, the forward direction of that your destiny is calling you in this super polarized experience with the past. Like, this is what it's been. This is who you've been. This is what you've got. And this is where you're going. And so it's a very pivotal time and it's a full moon eclipse. So it's like, I'm just amazed and I'm always amazed. And I live in the amazement of these eclipse cycles of like, what is going to manifest on that full moon? So where are you leading yourself now? What seeds are you planting during this new moon time? And also, so be intentional, yes, and be open. Just like, I don't even know. I don't even know what's coming through, but I am going to be open. I'm going to be so receptive to, I know that there is some magic coming through. And maybe there will be crisis. Maybe it will, it hurt a little, like, oh, I have to let that go. I have to face that thing. I have to confront that thing. It's not easy. I have to do the work. I literally, and that is what this new moon to full moon is: waxing, creative, build energy. It's ultimate yang. And Virgo is about effort. Do the work, do the job. And it's about your day-to-day routine. What is the time and energy? What are you spending your day-to-day, hour to hour on? What is actually taking up your time and energy? So, the whole 10x is easier than 2x reality. If you've read that book, it's amazing. And it's true. Like, get really focused over these next 2 weeks. I would suggest because whatever's going to come through on the full moon is going to be a fruition where you're putting your time, energy, and effort, your focus, your intention, right? And it's a very powerful culminative time of, yeah, like a very karmic with the eclipses. So it can be like, whew, finally. Like, this is not just the efforts of this 2 weeks. I've been working on this for a lifetime. I've been working on this for years, and it's finally breaking through. I'm finally there, like the pineapple effect, right? Like, finally, incremental compounded effect has come through. And a lot of people are going to see that on this full moon. And then we do have another eclipse cycle the following. So these 2 months are like that. So, okay, all of you, thank you so much for the time you have spent here. And now I scripted this whole beautiful meditation that I channeled for you. So I'm just going to speak it from my notes here. I will stop the share. And here we go. And then I'll just drop off the call after this. And I'll be posting this video in the community. So if anybody wants to share, ask any questions, and keep a conversation going, that would be wonderful. Okay. So let's close our eyes, breathe. If you want to put your feet on the ground, start to ground a little bit. Virgo is an earth sign, so we are getting the opportunity to move into deeper, more earth grounded energy and start to feel that groundedness in our own body. So feel your body here in this moment. And the moon is dark today. So we're moving into this time of devotional nurturing to our souls and our bodies with Virgo. Virgo holds us with tender hands, while Pisces whispers the song of our dreams. So here we are in the in-between reality, between actual physical reality, what we can see, what we can create, what we can form, and the unseen realms. We are at a pivotal, powerful interface between the unseen and the seen. And it comes with a very nurturing, healing essence. We want to hold that and feel that and walk with that, the Virgo Pisces. So, as we stand at the threshold of eclipse season, a doorway of endings, beginnings, and the mysterious weaving of destiny is before us. So, let's breathe, feel your humanity, the places you struggle, the chaos you carry, the overwhelm of just being alive, because it's all welcome here. You are not broken. You are human. You are growing and evolving and awakening to more awareness, just like everyone else, always. So now let's imagine the archetype, the avatar of Virgo entering the room, right? The one who sees you in your imperfections and crisis and still knows you are worthy, you are whole, you are human. And from the other side enters Pisces. Pisces approaches draped in stars and mists and watery realms and holding the promise of your future self that has already made it. You've made it. You've arrived. You're there. You're in the essence of all that you ever wanted and dream of. This luminous one who feels free in the dream that you imagine for yourself. So let them stand before you, the healer and the dreamer, the realistic one and the delusional one who expects the dream to come true. Just feel yourself at the bridge between them, breathing these two aspects into your body. Now, I invite you to open your arms wide and maybe just a little bit wider than you are comfortable with. And just like feel the edge in your nervous system of expansion, of inviting, receiving more, of stretching as you claim and declare to accept more into your life, into yourself. And know that you can hold more life, more chaos, more love, more of the dream. because you are the strength. You have proven already in your life time and time and time and time and time again how powerful, how strong, how capable you are. There is just absolutely no doubt about it. Anything that has not yet been created, it's just because we just don't know yet how, right? It's just a matter of getting it more and more familiar in our body by literally taking action. So that's what we need to do. So let's breathe just a little bit fuller. And just for a minute, just play with this. Imagine your body as an actual chalice, right? Just like taking it in like a big cup that just receives and takes in the more and more and more of the everything, but with so much capacity, not breaking under pressure, but just overflowing, right? The overflowing with compassion and capacity. Compassion for the human that you are and the capacity that you have. And it doesn't mean that, oh no, I can't do this or that. It is just that we can do so much, and we can do so much that we don't even know yet. So overflowing with hope for the soul that you are becoming, overflowing with pride for the strength and the devotion that you already carry. So now let's just bring to mind just one dream, one thing that you are longing for, and just see it before you and feel it in your body. Just start to bring it in your body as if it's already here. So can you start to feel what it would be like to have this, to taste it, to breathe it, move with it, be it, have it. No more resistance. It just is. Just try to just like smile with it, like it's yours already. Become it. Feel the identity. Let's just breathe into that for a minute, this happy, joyful having moment, the having, right? It's so giving. We are being giving, and we can give from it. It's just like the feeling of givingness. Okay, so now in this Virgo Pisces experience, then now let's just release it. Just feel that for a moment, like birth. We were holding, we were having, and now we're releasing. So release it. Let it dissolve back into the mystery. Notice what rises when it's gone. Maybe grief, fear, emptiness, annoyance, frustration. Let's just stay with it. And just like understand, just know, like even here, I do not abandon myself. Even here in the loss or the doubt, I choose me. I choose me. I can be with this. I can be with it's gone. It's not here yet. I choose me. So let's take one final breath. Let yourself feel the wholeness of this moment, your humanity, your chaos, your capacity, your dreams, your loss. All of it belongs. We can place our hands on our heart, the stomach, womb, wherever you feel. And let's just listen for a moment to this transmission, these words. I expand my capacity to hold the chaos of life. I open to the overflow of love, of my dreams, manifesting, of becoming. I walk with compassion for who I am, hope for who I'm becoming. I dare to expect my potential to be realized, my dreams to come true. I dare to be this bold. I dare to pioneer. I dare to go first. I dare to lead myself with honest and pure expectancy to live a life of joy. And so it is, bowing to you, to yourself. You are the new world. We are the world birthing through you, through us. Thank you so much for your presence with me. Happy new moon, dark moon time. And I just look forward to seeing you on the other side, seeing you inside. So much love. See you soon.